Joela Gocher has been with Broken Arrow Public Schools for 18 years, starting out as a paraprofessional, and now she makes a difference in the lives of special needs students as the happiest bus driver you'll ever meet. Her motto is to be positive, be happy, and be grateful. And you'll be happy after you watch her story.
On my bus, what we try to do and promote is to be positive, happy, don't be a bully, be respectful. So the little B is being amazing, honest, and this little B says a prayer for you every day. Whenever I see somebody that's having a bad day, I'll say, hey, this little B, you need this little B. And I give them the bracelet, and it just, lightens them up. And it's something that they can look at every day. They can read it, they can wear the wristband, and it's just something special for them. Why we do what we do. It's the kids. I mean, what is special about that? It's the day that I had 2 students that asked me to go to their graduation. And I had them for a long time, and I said, I'll be there, I promise. And they kept asking, are you coming to graduation? Are you coming to graduation? I said, yeah, I promise I'll be there. So I went, and the look on their faces, just being there at graduation, was amazing. One of the boys came up and he said, I just want you to know that I never would have graduated if it hadn't been for you. That's why we do what we do. And nobody knows what a child's going through that day. They have no idea what problems they have, but you're the first thing in the morning, you're starting their day, and at the end, that's what it is. And that's why we do it. I mean, it's what we can do to make their lives better. I was born and raised in Broken Arrow, so there's no place to be but VA.
My son being at Oneida Ridge, I think it definitely started our connection. And so Marshall being in Mr. Dumas's Gateway to Technology class. And then he and I have also had a couple of interactions within the district. So he actually reached out to us and said, hey, we would love to create a game for you all to play. Would you be interested? And I said, absolutely, we would be interested.
My class is a gateway class, and this specific one works a lot with modeling and design, so we wanted to design a board game, but with a purpose, something that could serve somebody else. And so we reached out to different classrooms. Mrs. Bowser accepted, said they were working on certain math skills and math concepts. And so we made up task cards and other things, but then we had to design a game that was going to be fun for 5th graders to play.
I didn't even give him the questions. So his students actually ended up coming up with the question cards that went with the game. So that was kind of how our collaboration got started. And then he just kept in touch, how they were making progress. We came up with a date that would be good for them to come over, and now here we are.
We use a program called Inkscape that lets us basically put the shapes in a way that can be read by the laser. And we have a 30-watt epilogue laser that can cut through a variety of materials. These games were made mostly out of wood, but we also have the plastic for the dice, where they've engraved specialized dice. They even used the laser to cut out the special shapes of the cards for the task cards.
It's more than what I had even imagined that it could be, so it's really neat to see.
I'm a mechanical engineering professor at the University of Tulsa, and my specialty is product design. So I've created a variety of design classes, and we have a minor in applied design thinking. And one of those classes is toy design. So I got in contact with Broken Arrow Vanguard Academy And they have a whole lot of design initiatives and projects that they work on. So we've partnered up to do toy design for a local elementary school in Broken Arrow called Rhodes Elementary, and testing out our ideas with the kids to see how they work.
We came on February 6th and did some observations, learned what the classrooms needed, what they could potentially utilize in order to create a better environment for their students, better learning opportunities. And then our students went back and they designed prototypes. They built them in our makerspace, created them out of wood, used the laser engravers, created something that they could bring back here to test today.
I'm here today as a student to kind of bring up a project that I'm currently working on with TU, and that is to compete with them to create a best toy possible for a design at Rhodes Elementary. So what me and my team are currently working on is getting data as we're here in place at Rhodes Elementary. The reason that I'm here is to address a certain classroom in the autism program, Mr. Lloyd's classroom. And these students are specifically very nonverbal. They just need stimulation and need fine motor skills. So what my team is working on is creating a Plinko board where they can have enough stimulation, and our final design will be incorporating audio, sensory, motor skills into that Plinko board. So we're basically elevating that Plinko board to another level.
We work very hard to make sure that TU students get to work on hands-on projects with real users, and Broken Arrow opening their doors to us has been an incredible opportunity, because getting into a classroom is an amazing chance for students to design things to really make a difference for little kids. And it's fun. They're making toys that help teach. They learn through play.
So when Ms. Baker and I got together at the beginning of the year, we talked about forming a partnership, and we wanted it to tie in with what kids already need. We didn't want it to be fluff. We wanted it to be really rich and meaningful. And so we started thinking about what kind of partnership could we have. And I was thinking about what our students really need. They've got to have rich science content, and getting science in is fun and engaging. And so we wanted to do something related to science so we could draw both groups together.
Amanda and I have gotten together to bring 5th and 1st graders together and give 5th graders an opportunity to hone in on their leadership skills, and 1st grade getting a positive relationship with, those older kids. And so we come together once a month to do a science experiment. So kids are getting to learn about scientists and what they do and all the things that go into it. We ask for the parent volunteer, so it gives parents an opportunity to come into the school and see what we're doing together and work alongside with their student.
And so we started just planning out what could those lessons be, what could be engaging, but also tie into what good scientists do. Good scientists ask questions, good scientists make observations, good scientists solve problems. So we're really highlighting and trying to bring focus to what real scientists actually do. And so doing that in with our lessons has been a lot of fun for the kids, and they're also learning so much at the same time.
Call to the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williams, Mrs. Taylor, Dr. Roulette. Yes. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Next item is going to be the moment of silence led by our Board Vice President, Mr. John Cockrell.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activities.
Next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by fourth grader from Leisure Park Elementary, Mr. Christian McClendon.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yay. Hey, Christian, remember, Mr. Perry's going to ask you some questions.
You nailed that. That sounded so good, so good. Fourth grader, 6 weeks away, and you will be the top dog at Leisure Park next year as a fifth grader. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math, that's awesome. What other things are you involved in, or do you do outside of school, or?
I like recess.
Recess, yes, yeah. That was one of my favorites. That's the highest grade I made every year was recess. It was. So you're looking forward to fifth grade? You got any big plans this summer?
I think I'm gonna go to my grandma's house and go mow her lawn.
Nice. Very nice. Make a little money?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, good. Well, we are so glad you're here tonight and that you were part of our Pledge of Allegiance. Would you introduce any guests that you brought with you tonight?
My mom and my dad.
And where are they at? You have them.
My mom's right there.
All right.
My dad's right there.
All right. Let's get
Mom and Dad.
And can I get a picture with you? Please? All right. Think about it.
Mr. Perry, you need to brag on his shirt now. He got that specifically for tonight.
It has a flag on it
Yeah.
and a star.
Oh,
Oh, yes. What it just Mm-hmm. Hey, Christian. Christian.
Hey, you did great. You did great. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys. Okay, next item is Miss Peterson.
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it. Sorry about that.
Number 4.
They're all moving around, so it got me on. Next item will be approval of the board meeting minutes from March 9th. Any discussion?
I'll make a Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Ms. Peterson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Allen, Mr. Perry, and members of the board. I'm coming to you tonight to ask for approval on several recommendations. And before I begin, I just want to say that before we actually go into the process of interviewing for principals, I visit with each of the specific staffs at the schools that have an opening. And I just have to say, each of the people that we're going to be recommending tonight truly embody the characteristics that those staff said that they needed in a future leader. So I'm coming to you tonight first to ask for your approval for Ms. Deetra Cleaver to serve as the principal of Oliver Middle School. She will be able to provide that strong consistency that staff is asking for, as well as continuing with the great things that are going on instructionally. And so tonight I'm asking for approval for Ms. Deetra Cleaver to serve in that position.
Any questions or discussion?
I left all of that off, so I apologize. I just got so excited. Yes, she does. She actually was a teacher in Broken Arrow in elementary back in the day. I have great things to say about her. She was actually my son's teacher. She taught in middle school. She served as a campus intervention specialist at Oliver and is now currently serving as the AP at Oliver and has done so the past 2 years. I apologize for that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Is she here?
She sure is, Ms. Cleaver.
Ms. Cleaver, congratulations. Would you like to say a few things? Great hire right there, OSU.
Yes,
Love it.
absolutely.
Great job. That's right. That's right. Congratulations. Yep.
All right. So next, I would like to bring for your approval Mr. Todd Greathouse to serve as the principal at Oneida Ridge Middle School. Todd is currently serving as the principal at Country Lane Intermediate, and I have to tell you, he has been on that campus for 18 years. He actually was there. I was a teacher at that time. He was an assistant principal, and he is coming to us. He's taught some in North Carolina, South Carolina, but we are so excited for the potential of him becoming the principal at Oneida. We feel like he has exactly what that staff needs, and so I know it's going to be hard after 18 years leaving that staff, but he is up for that challenge.
Somebody's very persuasive.
Yes, yes.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, Mr. Grayhouse. Yeah, congratulations.
All right, next I would like to bring for your approval Miss Leslie Officer to serve as the Sequoia 8th grade Academy principal. She has served in an administrative capacity in Broken Arrow over 15 years. She has been a successful elementary principal. She has been a successful assistant principal at the Freshman Academy, and we believe that she is going to bring an amazing partnership with the principal, the soon-to-be principal at Sequoia. I'm really excited to see what they both can do on that campus as a whole. And that is one thing that both of those staffs said, is they really are looking for administrators that are going to come together and unify that entire campus. So we're very excited to recommend Ms. Leslie Officer.
Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, everybody's very excited, Leslie.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Exciting, thank you.
All right, and lastly, I bring to you tonight for your approval for Kim Archer to serve in the capacity of principal at Sequoia Middle School. She has served in an administrative capacity in Broken Arrow since 2017. She has served at Timber Ridge, Creekwood. She actually also, when we very first started the virtual academy, was one of the key, I guess, a key person in helping and getting that off of the ground, and so she was integral in that. She served a very short time at Leisure Park as an assistant principal, and we asked her to move over to Vandiver to be an interim principal, in which she then became the principal at Vandiver and has been there since 2021. So we are excited. I mean, we're going to have potentially 2 Vandiver principals that are now on the Sequoia campus. So we're very excited to recommend her. And you know, one thing that staff said that they wanted was somebody that could build relationships and have really high instructional expectations, and Kim has those.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, Ms. Archer. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to working with Leslie and with getting to know the whole staff there. And I'm really excited to be moving with some of my Vandiver students as they're, going to Sequoia. So I'm just super excited about that. And today I have my husband Brett and 3 of my children are here, and then my parents are also watching at home in Pennsylvania.
All right, congratulations, all of you. Okay, we do have one item from comments from the public. Heather Ann Kane is going to speak to a non-agenda item. Okay, come on up. Ms. Kane, as discussed, 3 minutes, and Mr. Cockrell will keep the time.
Halito, Chipota Chike Sa Halito, Lee Heather Ann Kane, Broken Arrow Freshman Academy, Ia Chi Pisa La Hochifo Ma 2024, Ia Iskola Pisa Tuklosi, Chia Pila Choctaw Nation, Broken Arrow Public Schools, Indian Education Department Parent Committee, Ia Secretary, Pisa Lee Sa Ya. In English, that means good evening and hello. I am the parent of a student at the Broken Arrow Freshman Academy, as well as a 2024 BA Tiger alumni. We are members of the Choctaw Nation. I serve as your elected secretary of the Indian Education Department Parent Committee Board for Broken Arrow Public Schools. In the interest of time, so that I don't bumble through this, and technology, thank you, Jesus, I am going to have AI read the rest of my speech so that I can make sure I meet your 3 minutes. Please read the rest of my speech without using introduction.
Of course. I'll pick up right where your English translation started and continue from there.
We're doing the introduction anyway.
Of course. I'll leave out the introduction and just continue from the point where you began addressing the issue. I became aware of this during spring break when attempting to update my child's certificate degree of Indian blood, or CDIB card. When students turn 14, they must update their CDIB to be compliant with a real ID, according to federal guidelines from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. There are three ways: a student ID with the current school year, a state ID, or a passport. Both state IDs and passports have expiration dates. Showing the full school year creates an expiration date. Currently, BA student IDs don't show the school year, so students can't use them for Real ID compliance. Those on the board this evening who are not Native, please understand that Native students already go through multiple steps to establish tribal enrollment for a CDIB. With the Real ID program, there is now an added photo requirement to make it acceptable. Forcing families to get a state ID or passport creates unnecessary financial, time, like in our case, a 6-hour round trip, and logistical burden, especially when they get a new student ID every year. Because we lacked a compliant student ID from BA schools, my child has a standard CDIB card without a photo. That version does not provide the same validity as a Real ID for boarding planes, and until we provide a compliant ID, her card remains unchanged. This also impacts broader funding. CDIBs are used for the Indian Education 506 form, which affects federal funding per student in the Indian Education program. The solution is simple: add the current full school year to student IDs. This would make them compliant and ensure BA fully captures eligible funding. This is a chance to implement the change before new IDs are issued in August with minimal disruption, a low-cost or no-cost change that benefits both Native students and BA public schools. I respectfully ask the board to consider updating student ID cards to include the current full school year. Thank you for your time and your commitment to all students.
How much time do I have left? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item will be the general consent items 11 through 87. Any discussion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Yes, it just popped up. Okay. Ms. Murphy?
Evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. Might have been easier just to say each of your names individually, but it's okay. I am here to present the activity fund and treasurer's reports through May 31st, or not May, March 31st. Activity fund receipts total $5,001,000. Disbursements total $3,867,000. And this results in an ending cash balance of $5,497,000 in activity funds. Have any activity fund questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. Treasurer's report. The cash balance report shows assets totaling $134,675,000 and investments total $120,300,000. Any treasury questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Ms. Sapp.
Good evening. The first item I have this evening is the change order reports for the date range of March 5th through April 1st, 2026. And it reflects a decrease of $178,275.98, and am recommending your approval on this item.
Any questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next item.
The second item I have this evening is for encumbrance reports. Date range is March 5th through April 2nd, 2026, and reflects encumbrances totaling $2,197,453.25, and recommending your approval on this.
Any questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Sapp. Ms. Enoff.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. We have financial reports through the end of March, so we are quickly winding down school year 2026, which is hard to believe. We're in the final quarter of our budget and school year, and so I'm happy to go through these reports, but I'd also like to touch on the state budget that was discussed last week as well. So you can see in general fund, our state aid collections are starting to trend a little bit downward from where we were this time last year because of the reduction in what we were receiving in state aid due to lower enrollment, and no change really in the factor for us this year, but our declining enrollment is causing a little bit of decrease in that revenue category. Ad valorem dollars are still continuing to come in strong for us. That's our local property tax dollars. That is a vital source of revenue for the school district. That represents over half of our revenue collections, and so that continues to be a very important source of revenue for the district. And everything else is pretty much trending as projected for general fund. In building fund, again, those ad valorem dollars are so important because those allow operations to continue with our maintenance and our plant operations team. That's a very small source of revenue for building fund compared to our almost $200 million budget in general fund. Building fund is considerably smaller, and so those dollars really have to work for us. In child nutrition, everything is about on track with where we were this time last year. Expenses, salaries, and benefits continue to be the largest part of our general fund budget, representing about 85% of our overall expenditures. You start doing the math and you can see very quickly that leaves a very small margin for other operating expenses that are needed to run the district. Utilities, insurance, fuel for buses, curriculum. A lot has to fit into that percentage because we do have so many expenses wrapped up into recurring payroll expenses. Building fund, again, this is used for our maintenance and operation of our buildings, as well as a few salaries for custodians and maintenance workers. And child nutrition, again, is our fund that is self-sufficient for our child nutrition program of everything they need to operate in terms of their food and supplies and their own payroll expenses for their CN workers. Our fund balance is, you can see the history from where we were this year, over the past 7 years. It's really kind of too soon to tell where we're going to be for the end of school year 2026, but we are expecting a decrease due to some one-time expenditures. Any questions for the end of March? I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the state budget. That was discussed last week. We received quite a nice April Fool's surprise with the release of that information. In essence, $232 million of new funding into the Common Ed appropriation budget. I will say that those $232 million all have ties to them, and so no flexibility for districts on decisions for those funds, but we are grateful for the new money being added into the budget for next year. The biggest piece of that is around the $2,000 teacher pay raise across the board. That is in one of the Senate bills that was heard today. Again, great news for our teachers. We are thrilled that our leaders at the Capitol have made that a priority and continue to make it a priority. Those dollars will go into the funding formula. And so again, as long as the funding formula is continued to be funded appropriately, districts will be able to maintain and keep up with those salaries, because once they're put into the schedule, we are tied and bound to them forever. So it's very important that that formula is continued to be funded. The other Senate bill that deals with the general appropriation of funding, the State Department and the agency includes money for textbooks, materials, Red Bud funding is included. It does include $50 million of permanent school security funding, which we're very pleased that that is going to be made permanent. That was a 3-year pilot that was done, and so we were kind of uncertain as to whether that funding would be continued, but those funds have really been vital to the district for funding the SRO program in conjunction with the City of BA and some other needed security measures for the district. It will continue to fund the flexible benefit allowance as rates continue to increase. it's important that FBA be fully funded, so that is not a burden on the district, and also includes funds for the Strong Readers Act.
Questions? Ms. Enoff, I'm excited they're giving $2,000 raises. I wish they would have given more, but, so what's the alternative if the next session or 2 sessions down the road, the same allocation of funds doesn't be given to public education? What's our recourse locally?
You mean
Or what's our decision have to be? I'm saying recourse, but what do we have to do? Say we have another shortfall. Do we have to lay people off?
Most likely, because again, as you can see from the slides, we do have a significant dollar amount tied up into recurring payroll expenses. So if a revenue failure were to be triggered, typically common education, as we've seen historically, is the first one to be cut because we do represent the largest portion of the state budget. And that has been historically what's happened is positions are cut, programs are cut, and it unfortunately hits the classroom the hardest, which is what we try and do in keeping some of those fund balance numbers at a comfortable level so we don't have to make any reactionary decisions at that point. We have a little bit of time to figure things out before immediate action needs to be taken.
And I guess there was a question asked when they came out on April Fool's Day to announce the budget agreement about support staff funding, that no additional monies were given to support staff. Correct?
That is correct. So for some reason, we did have a support staff raise about 4 years ago. It was around $1,000, I think $1,220 was the figure, and it got very complex very quickly because unlike certified pay schedules where there's a state minimum, districts have the autonomy to do support pay scales how it fits their district. So there's not a uniform support pay scale across the board. So it got very messy as to how those raises were implemented. And I think some of the feedback to the legislators is that it wasn't implemented cleanly and there's just a lot of back and forth with it. And so really, since then, the temperature has not been as warm for support staff raises as certified teacher raises, just because they feel like it's the local school district, school board's decision on what those raises are to look like.
One of our state legislators suggested we cut one administrative position to cover a pay raise for support staff. If we were to give our support staff $1 raise, what would be the cost to the district?
About $1.5 million. It would take.
I've seen your contract, Mr. Perry, and it does not even equate to that. So, well, I think that's the thing we have to be honest about when we watch interviews like that going on at the state capitol and people rush to the microphone to make comments that aren't 100% accurate. You know, it's awesome to say that, to give a school board the local decision, which they were elected to have, and the power to have, but, you know, I don't know any board member that has an ATM machine up here to create extra money to help make those decisions. That comes from the state. So in order to make those decisions locally about giving that raise, you got to have the funds from somewhere. And then to make the comment of cut administrator, well, the state sets the cap at 5%. So if they don't want it at 5%, why don't they change the cap to less than that and then utilize those funds as well and hold those accountable that are over the cap? So I think that's not fair to have those comments made at the state capitol when you're boasting about it and then wanting to turn it onto local school boards and create friction or whatever it may do, because that's not honest, and it's not honest with the people and the public of Oklahoma.
There's no doubt that I've been in this seat almost 10 years now. There's no doubt that there's more administrative work now than ever before across all departments and all teams, not just finance, but every team and division has a pretty large administrative lift on maintenance of effort reports and just all of the things that are now required to be tracked, documented, for accountability purposes, which we are fine with accountability and transparency. We're not hiding from that or trying to dodge it, but it does take people and resources to live up to that accountability.
I would agree. I mean, I don't think our board, I think our board probably requires transparency and accountability. So I would agree with you there. I just think it really is bothersome as a board member. It's almost like, you know, we start working together after the last superintendent fiasco, then this comment comes out like it's the board's fault because support staff don't get raises, and that's not accurate. If they provide funding and let the board make a decision locally of how to spend that on support staff, that would be ideal, but that's not the case. So I think that's unfair and not an honest statement.
The way it currently stands now, the $232 some odd million that's being added into next year's budget, all is allocated. So the board would have no flexibility in, even if you wanted to, earmarking those funds for any other purpose but how these Senate bills are dictating at this point. Now, the budget has not been signed, it's not been approved, it's still going through the process, the legislative process, but we were just, again, very pleased last week to receive the news on the budget. This is a critical time for school districts in making decisions for next year, and without good information and good data, we can't move forward, and I feel like this is a good first step, and I'm hopeful that as things continue to unfold, that they will continue to listen and we will get some flexibility on down the road, but I am happy for our teachers.
I am too. I am as well, and it's exciting to get the news in April about the budget instead of asking them to go extended time to approve the budget while you're waiting in May to figure out what you're going to do for next year. So I would agree with you. It was exciting to hear that.
The continued security funding is also extremely positive. We're very grateful for that because as you saw in our last bond issue, security was a centerpiece for what the voters approved, and it's nice that the legislature is following suit with that priority.
I agree. And I want to thank our local legislators for helping us with that as well. I know many of them listened and have helped, probably played a vital role in getting that for us, and we appreciate that.
We do.
So, yep.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next item, Mr. Butler.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Perry, President Allen, and members of the board. I have 4 items to present for your approval this evening. All bidding for these items was conducted pursuant to the Oklahoma Public Bidding Act, and all 4 projects will be paid for with bond funds. The first item, item 93, this is for a HVAC unit replacement project at Centennial Middle School. I recommend approval of this item and awarding it to Vision Air Services in the amount of $155,000.
Any discussion?
How many units are being replaced?
That's going to be 13 units.
How many is there total at that school?
There is a little over 70 units at Centennial, so there's going to be some more units replaced later on. This is just the start of that. So,
how much is a AC unit running right now? I know they really went up after COVID, but
yes, they went up, and you know, on average, we're, you know, depending on the size, but for our average size, you know, about $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 a unit installed. So, you know, before COVID, it was well under 10. So definitely has went up.
When are they scheduled to be finished?
All the units at
The 13.
Oh, the 13. These will start right as school is out, and then the deadline to be finished is I believe like the second week of July. So they've got that window there to get those replaced.
Mr. Butler, without our bond, with our community voting on the bond, how would we do this? How would we pay for them?
It would be very difficult for us to pay for these with our regular maintenance funds that we use for day-to-day stuff. So definitely rely on the bond funds for this kind of thing.
Very important.
I'll make motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes. Next item, Mr. Butler.
The next one is, this one is one that I'm excited to bring to you guys. This item is for a roof restoration project at Ernest Childers Middle School. This restoration will help eliminate roof leaks at the site. I recommend approval of this item and awarding it to Prestige Roofing LLC in the amount of $1,104,330.
Mr. Butler, it's funny, you probably listened to us chuckle about that, but in subcommittee, you know, when you talk about items getting replaced or built or repaired, that you get excited about when you're building new buildings, but it's been a lot of excitement in subcommittee when they came in about doing this project at this site. So
yes.
It was kind of comical to
Much needed.
hear
Yes.
people chuckle about that, so
Very
the
much
excitement. So.
And
That's
that's 113,000 square feet of roofing that we're going to be restoring.
Is that
out
the
there.
entire building or almost the entire building? Or how much of it is it?
You know, it's the entire original roof, with the exception of the two little add-ons that we've had.
Okay.
The science hall, and then like there's a fine arts addition over there. But everything other than those two small areas is going to be touched by this project. So.
How long will it take to complete this?
You know, as soon as it gets approved tonight, we're going to move this forward, and they're going to start before school is out, and try not to disturb class as best they can. And we're hoping that it'll be done by the end of this fiscal year, so the end of June.
Oh, good. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, next item.
The next one is for a parking lot resurfacing project at Wolf Creek Elementary. I recommend approval of this item and awarding it to JEI in the amount of $48,484.
This is another one's long time coming. We got the front done and
Yes.
the back looks like a war zone.
Yes, this is the back of Wolf Creek, yes. And it's about 17,000 square feet of asphalt overlay. We'll make it nice and smooth.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, next item.
Next one is for an HVAC unit replacement project at Wolf Creek Elementary. Recommend approval of this item and awarding it to Service Wizards in the amount of $148,867.81. And this is 11 units. And this is the final 11 original units on the original phase of Wolf Creek.
Wow.
The gym's a little newer, we're not touching that, but on the original part of Wolf Creek, this is the final 11 original units that came with the building.
Wow.
So everything will be updated.
Long overdue.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Butler. All right, Mr. Leach, I think you got good news here. This is what, 50-plus years in the making right here?
Well, we're finally here, the final project of the 2015 bond. And I just want to say that we're here at the guaranteed maximum price that I'm going to present is totally within our budget and just by the skin of our teeth. And we were able to accept all 9 bid alternates, which will include the warm-up pool, some upgraded ductwork, HVAC commissioning, some upgrades at the front entry with landscaping and planters, and it's going to make it a top-notch facility. So with that, I recommend for your approval tonight to the construction contracts for the new aquatic center at the Kirkland Activities Complex to the lowest responsible bidder, and to assign such contracts to Nabholz Construction, and to approve or disapprove the amendment to the construction management contract establishing a new guaranteed maximum price in the amount of $27,446,874, and to authorize the Director of Construction Services to approve or disapprove changes to the trade contracts within the GMP. All bidding was conducted pursuant to the Oklahoma Competitive Bidding Act, and the cost will be paid with 2015 bond funds.
Mr. Leach, I want to thank you, your team, and Nabholz for a job well done. and this is exciting for our community and our district. I know it's probably ever since we went to school here, we were going to get one, so, but just thank you. And I know it wasn't easy when you're talking 15 bond dollars to 2026, so thank you
Yeah,
guys.
and increases in construction costs from 2015 to today on the order of 60%. And we were still able to get what we're all going to be very proud of.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes. I want to give a round of applause on our new pool coming. Come on. Come on. That's a big deal. Ms. Thompson.
Yes, let's talk legislation. So we started this legislative session with a little over 600 education-related bills, and we're down to the final 100-ish. So I'll go through some of those briefly tonight for you. House Bill 1276, the good news is this is the cell phone ban bill. For whatever reason, last year's legislation was a temporary experiment, I guess we can say, but we're already doing it in Broken Arrow, and so this is just finalizing that across the state, extending that ban, so we shouldn't see any changes here in BA. House, and if you have any questions at any point, just jump in and ask. If not, I'm going to rattle through them because I think the last thing before you guys head to executive session, so no pressure. House Bill 3151, this would increase the number of instructional days to 173 minimum. Now the good news again for our district is we already meet those days. There was some conversation with this piece of legislation early on that we couldn't count professional development and parent-teacher conferences, but that language didn't make it into this final version of the bill, so far we're sitting good. We won't have to add any days. Now I will throw in a little caveat with this one, because this particular bill had a trigger funding. So if the legislature increased the funding to public education by $175 million, then this would go into effect. So with the budget bill that we just heard about, obviously that funding threshold has been met. And so I was hopeful that maybe for those school districts that didn't have to add days, it would give us some discretionary funding. That does not seem to be the case. So, Mr. Allen, you could laugh at me. I was trying to be Pollyanna and give Natalie a little bit of discretionary funding, but I don't expect that to be the case. But we don't have to add days here in BA. We're already at the minimum. House Bill 3288, this one is a little bit tricky for us. This would increase the amount of PE to 150 minutes a week. We're already at about 125 minutes, and so it wouldn't be too big of a stretch for us, but still that's something that's concerning for our staff of how do we get that in with all of the other curricular obligations that I'm going to talk about with all the other bills coming down the pike. Really what we heard in conversations with superintendents across the state is those situations where cafegimatoriums exist, where you're feeding students and also having PE and also maybe having assemblies in the same space, it becomes a logistical issue, scheduling. So districts are having to potentially cut programs like STEM, like robotics, like arts, like all of those programs that are enriching students to be able to hit this target. So I'm hopeful it will be one that won't affect us too badly here in Broken Arrow. It could, but I think we're in a better situation than smaller school districts that will be facing these challenges. Any questions about that one? Okay, moving on. House Bill 3312, this one is now going to require us, if it passes, to provide annual firearm security training for our students. I won't say anything more. I will remind you that the first bill that was passed this session also added fentanyl awareness training to the information that we have to provide to our students. I do think that one will be covered in the training provided through OSDE for that, so it shouldn't be a tremendous lift on our staff, but still it's one more thing that we're teaching that's not reading, writing, and arithmetic. So we'll see where that one goes.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
I think I read that bill, and it has to be by a CLEAT certified staff member.
Yes.
So I'd assume that's going to cost money, or could potentially cost money.
Could potentially,
Is there
yes.
funding that comes along with that bill that requires that training?
No.
Or that class?
No funding.
Okay.
Good questions, though. House Bill 3467, this is a good one. It expands maternity leave to include adoption, so that's a good thing for our staff. House Bill 3706, this will increase the minimum amount of math instruction to about 220 to 225 minutes a day. Again, this is one that we're sitting great at. Our instructional team does a fantastic job here in BA. We're already hitting 60 minutes or more a day, and so I'm sorry, I think I said 220 to 25 minutes a day. I meant a week. Sorry about that. But we are still okay with that one here in BA. Shouldn't have any changes to that. House Bill 3711, this one will require us to publish certain financial information on our website. Check. we do that. House Bill 3885. This one, I am a little bit hopeful in this one. I think they're hearing us about the student behaviors that we're seeing. But basically, this will expand the ability to suspend or expel students who, in grades 3 through 5, who assault a staff member. The existing legislation only allowed us to do that for grades 6 through 12. And so this is, we're seeing, I'm hopeful that they're hearing what we're saying about the student behaviors that we're seeing across the state. House Bill 4153, this will tie reading proficiency at the 8th grade level to that driver's license. This one existed a while ago, went away, now it's coming back, kind of like the 3rd grade retention. You're gonna hear a little bit more about that here in just a second. House Bill 4326 expands eligibility for Oklahoma's Promise. If you remember last year, we had a House of Representatives author that allowed teachers, certified teachers, to apply for that program. This is expanding the definition of a certified staff member and also including legal guardianship and adopted students. So all would apply under this amended version of the bill. All good things. House Bill 4358. This one was tricky. It started out limiting screen time to an hour a day across subject matters for grades pre-K through 5. Now, thankfully, I would like to take some credit for this bill changing a little bit. In our early conversations with the author, it was written in such a way that it would exclude us from being able to use smartboards. You were already there, Ms. Roulette. And so now the amended version of the bill includes a number of exceptions in the language, which I was very encouraged to see. Other things that weren't taken into consideration were interventions and remediations that happen on tablets and those sorts of things, accommodations through IDEA, teacher prep, digital textbooks. A number of our textbook curriculum is only available now online. And so I think with all of the exceptions in that bill, I think we'll be okay. One outstanding question that I have is, how are we supposed to track that hour? Because it's across teachers, across subject matters, and so I'm not really sure what the tracking mechanism will look like, but that's to be determined, I guess. House Bill 4220 and Senate Bill 1778. I'm listing these two together because if there are two bills that are related to the same topic, one of them is going to make it through the session. We just don't know which one yet. And based on the authors, they're significantly high in the House and Senate leadership. One of these bills is going to make it through. This is the 3rd grade reading instruction and retention. So if you're hearing about the Mississippi Miracle, typically you're only hearing about this retention part. You're not hearing a lot about the funding that happened to pull off that Mississippi Miracle. So this would again tie that 3rd grade reading scores to if the student's able to promote or not. It's a pretty controversial bill, but I do suspect that one version of this, either the House or the Senate side, will make it to the finish line on here.
Mr. Perry, you've made comments before about this. What, on that funding, was that an 11-year process, or what was that?
It was a 10-year process, but they took it off the top, much like we did our roads and bridges several years ago in Oklahoma. So they had a plan to start out with of each year they knew they were going to get a, designated amount that would cover their commitment to literacy. We are guessing year to year what it's going to be. I mean, until late. This is the earliest we've ever even gotten a snip of what next year's budget will be. But they made it a priority. It was a 10-year process. I've heard it said it's not a Mississippi Miracle, but a Mississippi Marathon. It was very intentional over a decade.
Was that the 50 whatever million that was in the reading sufficient?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we asked some legislators last week about this, like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Can't we just follow? And they said, well, a lot of our legislators want the Mississippi Miracle. They're not willing to fund the Mississippi Miracle. So
Yes.
until we're willing to put it into education, we'll just hover around the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Priorities.
Right. Gun training, firearm training.
Just a few more. I promise we're getting close to the end of the list. House Bill 4427, this is something HR will have to be aware of. This would prevent us from using adjuncts at all in core subject areas in pre-K through 4th grades. Again, they're really trying to focus on strengthening the instruction of those early childhood levels. So those are all House bills. I'm going to jump over to the Senate side for just a couple. Senate Bill 1193, this is one, this one comes up, it's come up about the last 3 years in a row. Senator Pugh is trying to remove the limits and penalties on districts for trying to carry over funds. which would give us some discretionary ability. It never seems to quite make it to the finish line. I don't know, with the compressed timeline that they're operating under right now, a lot of these bills are not going to get heard either in the committees or on the floor. We're hearing that they are trying to adjourn by May 1st, so even a lot of the good bills that are out there may not make it to the finish line. Senate Bill 1630, this is one, we remember Senator Thompson passed a bill last session to take away virtual days. Again, I'd like to think that it's because Dr. James and her lobbying efforts to go down there and talk to them. We're getting an exception now to be able to use that for testing. So like when we do ACT testing, that large scale testing at the high school, at any of our high schools, we tried to use virtual days for that. So this, if it passes, would give us that flexibility back. Senate Bill 1734 would require us to adopt an AI policy. We're in good shape for that. We don't technically have a district AI policy right now, but we are fully prepared to be able to implement one. We've got processes in place and practices, so the policy will be easy when that time comes. Senate Bill 201, this is tied to the teacher pay raise that Ms. Enoff spoke of earlier. It was heard today at the House Appropriations and Budget meeting. I expect that one to pass because it's tied to that budget, which got quite a bit of press a couple weeks ago. And then finally, Senate Bill 1177, that's the general appropriations bill. It's the omnibus bill that funds a lot of the things that she had also mentioned earlier, Redbud funding, those sorts of things. One other thing to keep on our radars, there are 2 Senate joint resolutions about property tax caps. These would be a constitutional amendment that would really, it would be catastrophic for funding for not just K-12, but also our career tech system across the state. So these are things that we need to keep a pulse on and just be mindful that we're really educating, like lower property taxes or no property taxes sounds great, but what's the actual cost of that? It's something that we just need to be mindful of.
I think it's fine as long as they have an alternative funding source.
Correct.
At the current levels.
Correct.
I mean, and what's that look like, and tell us how to operate within that.
Mm-hmm. But any questions I can answer for you. If not, that's just
Thank
a quick
you.
summary.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next item's new business. We have none. Next item would be moved to executive session. Make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Please take the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you.
The Board of Education and Mr. Chuck Perry entered into executive session at 6:55 PM to discuss the evaluation of Mr. Chuck Perry, Superintendent of Schools, pursuant to 25 OS Section 307B1. The Board of Education returned to open session at 7:22 PM. No action was taken during the executive session. This constituted the minutes of an executive session.
Next item. Item number
102.
102.
I make a motion to award Superintendent Chuck Perry a merit stipend in a set sum of 10% of his base salary.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Please take the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item.
Sorry, I took your buttons.
Oh, that's okay.
I make a motion to approve the new contract beginning June 30th, 2026 for Superintendent Mr. Chuck Perry.
I second.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item would be to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dr. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. You took those manually on the deal, because it didn't pop up here.
Yeah, I
Okay.
took it, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.